Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhiraye Nashtapraye Shabadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 8 and Text 10. Udaplutam Vishwam Idam Tadhasi Yat Nidraya Unmilita Drun Nyamilayat Ahindra Talpe Adishayane Ekaha Krutakshanah Swatmaratau Nirihaha Udaplutam Vishwam Yadam Tadasi Yannidrayami Litadrunyamilaya Ahindra Talpe Dishayana Ekaha Kritakshana Swatmarato Nirihaha Udaplutam Vishwamidam Tadhasi Yannidrayami Litadrunyamilaya Ahindra Talpe Dishayana Ekaha Kritakshana Swatmarato Nirihaha. Udaplutam Vishwamidam Tadasi Yanidrayami Litadan Nidritalpe Dishayami Kaha Kutakshana Swatmarato Nirihaha. Udha, water. Aplutam, submerged in. Vishwam, the three worlds. Idam, this. Tadha, at that time. Asi, it so remained. Yat, in which. Nidraya, in slumber. Amilita, closed. Druk, eyes. Nyamilayat, not completely closed. Ahi Indra, the great snake Ananta. Talpe, on the bed of. Adishayanaha, lying on. Ekaha, alone. Krutakshanaha, being engaged. Swa Atmaratau, enjoying in his internal potency. Nirihaha, without any part of external energy. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. At that time when the three worlds were submerged in water, Garbhodakaśāyī Viṣṇu was alone, lying on his bedstead. The great snake Ananta, And although he appeared to be in slumber in his own internal potency, free from the action of the external energy, his eyes were not completely closed. Please repeat. At that time, when the three worlds were submerged in water, Garbhodakaśāyī Viṣṇu was alone, lying on his bedstead. The great snake Ananta, and although he appeared to be in slumber, in his own internal potency, free from the action of the external energy, his eyes were not completely closed. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Lord is eternally enjoying transcendental bliss by his internal potency, whereas the external potency is suspended during the time of the dissolution of the cosmic manifestation. I will read the next verse also. So antah sharire arpita bhuta sukshmaha kalatmikam shaktim udhirayanaha uvasa tasmin salile padesve yathanalo dharuni ruddhaviryaha. Purport. After the three worlds, the upper, lower and middle planetary systems merged into the water of dissolution, the living entities of all the three worlds remained in their settled bodies by dint of the energy called Kala. In this dissolution, the gross bodies became unmanifest, but the subtle bodies existed, just like the water of the material creation. Thus the material energy was not completely wound up, as is the case in the full dissolution of the material world. Dasansta Bhaktivedanta Parpoto Madhyana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Ena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Maitreya Rishi is explaining the Srimad Bhagavatam, which he had heard from Parashara, Parashara's main disciple. And here he is explaining about a personality who is lying on his bedstead when all the three worlds are submerged in water. This universe has three divisions, Bhu, Bhuva, Swa, three worlds. And then when those three worlds are submerged in water, Udapulutam Vishwam Idham Tadasit, at that time, exactly at that time when the world is, all the three worlds are submerged in water. Actually, it must be a ghastly scene. Imagine entire universe is submerged in water. The whole thing is there is a dissolution. So when the things are very ghastly and very turbulent all around, there is one personality who is dozing on his bedstead. Yan nidriya milita druk nyamilayat. So Ahindra Talpe, Ahindra means the king of the snake, the great snake Ananta. He is in slumber. dozing. Actually, we all doze. And where is that coming from? You can see Garbhodakaśāyī Viṣṇu is in dozing, is in slumber in his own internal potency. It is Swa Atma Rato, Atma, Atma Shakti, Atma Mayaya. So it is appear to be in a slumber in his internal potency. How can you say he is an internal potency? Look at what is happening to the external potency. All around there is a dissolution. The worlds are in turbulence. Everybody's bodies are destroyed. The subtle bodies, they are existing only in subtle bodies. And then Lord is on his bedstead, on an Ananta, and is in dozing and slumber, not at all affected by the activities of the external energy. The people of this world can never imagine that when such a halagulla is going on, turbulence is going on, there is a personality like that who is peacefully taking rest, is actually enjoying in his internal potency. So, in one place in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada quotes one shloka, Yamunacharya's glorification of the Supreme Lord. It's called Stotra Ratna, where he mentions that Ullangita Trividha Sima. The people who are in the external energy, now here we can see the Lord is clearly not in external energy because he is not at all affected by such turbulent and ghastly scene of winding up the universe. So obviously he has a different arrangement by which he is very peaceful in this, enjoying in his, there is a personality like that. So people of this world cannot imagine that there is a personality who can be like this when everything is going ulta pulta here. They won't be able to understand. So that Supreme Personality he is not limited by the external energy, but then the people who are under external energy, they have Trividha Sima. There are three limitations. What are those three limitations? They are bound by time, they are bound by space, and they are bound by their own thoughts. Time, space, and thought binds everybody in this world. Not only binds, Sima, that puts a boundary around the living entity. No living entity can transcend these three limitations. Radha Govinda ki jai. They cannot transcend. For example, the scientists are planning to introduce the space expeditions. They are promising that people can go into the space. Possible. But they are promising that they can go to the other planets. In fact, the highest planet also can be reached, but it takes 40,000 years. 40,000 light years. Highest, theoretically calculate, you can reach. But then who can live 40,000 light years to experience what is there in the highest planet? Nobody can live. Maximum, if you are traveling in a flight like that, mostly you will not survive beyond 40-50 years. Now 40,000 years. So there is a time limitation. Yes, you can reach, but there is a Sima. Trividha Sima. The first thing is time. Time is a big limitation. People have wonderful plans. They want to achieve so many things in this world. I want to be like this. I want to be like that. I want to build something. I want to become something. Everybody is planning, but time is a big seema. It limits. Even if everything is apparently going very well, you can see here, dissolution is part of this world. Nobody can escape this process. Ruthlessly, the things around us will be destroyed. So that's the seema, first one of the time. And then space. The space is a limitation. The highest space that we can experience is the sky, but even that is limited. Ultimately, the sky is also limited. Beyond the universal sky, it is said in the scriptures that there are 7 layers are there, covering the whole universe. The universe is like a little coconut. There are so many layers are there on the top. Coconut pulp is there, and there is a shell, there is some husk. Like that, this universe, if it is like a small, anda, then there is so many layers are covering. And it is said that each layer is 10 times bigger than the preceding layer. So there is a earthly layer, then 10 times bigger is apaha, water. Imagine 10 times. And then 10 times bigger than is anala, fire. Very tightly, this universe is wrapped with layers of these materials. Nobody can cross these layers. So even if you take those layers into account, still the space is still limited. There is a time, space, limitation, and then most importantly the thought. Everybody is caught up in their own thoughts, and all those thoughts are limiting. For example, if you go and tell anybody that there is a personality who is sleeping on Ananta on a bedstead, when there is a dissolution going on all around, he'll say story, mythological story, he will say. His thought cannot permit that somebody can be very peacefully enjoying with his own energy. He is in slumber, he is dozing, and everything else is going on in a most turbulent manner. They cannot conceive. See how the thoughts are limited. But yes, there is a supreme. Nidraya milita drunyamiliyat namilayat is not completely closed his eyes, just a little bit slumber, dozing. And then ahindra talpe. So the devastation water is there. And on that there is a Ananta. Ahindra talpe means the Ananta's bedstead is there. It is said that the serpent's bed will be very cooling. Serpent body is very cooling. So ahindra talpe, on a cooling bedstead, adishayana ekaha, the Lord is alone, the gorgeous personality of Garbhodakaśāyī Viṣṇu, who is apparently beyond this time, space and thought. Obviously, he is not affected by the time. It's a dissolution time, and then he is not affected by the space. That great supreme personality is lying. And then he has one energy, self-invigorated energy called Kala. Udhirayanaha Shaktim. That supreme personality has many Shaktis. And one of the Shaktis is this Kala, which is bringing this devastation, submerging all the living entities, and their gross bodies are dissolved. Everybody died, and then in their subtle bodies they are hanging in this Kala Shakti. This is the description. So, people who are under the spell of external energy, they cannot transcend that thought. Their experience of a person, their experience of some personality is limited to what the personalities they have seen all around them. For example, if there is a big water gushing into this room, in this all over this area, can you immediately lie down and then keep dozing without affected by this turbulent water which is filling up this entire space? Impossible. You have no arrangement. Where will you sleep? Water is coming and then. But the Lord has His own arrangement. He has a Ananta, and that is. And Shastra says that Supreme Personality of Godhead, we have a connection with that person. That Lord who is lying there, we have a connection with that person. He is not aloof. Okay, he has his own arrangements, he has his own enjoyments, and here everything is going worse, bad, everything is getting dissolved. Yes, but that personality is not aloof. We have a connection with him, and he has a connection with us. And Shastra further goes on to explain that feature of God, the Supreme Lord that you are seeing, that is not the ultimate feature. Is only one of the swamshas of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Krishnaya akunta medase. This is the word that Shiva uses when he is giving one prayer to Prachetas. Prachetas are the sons of a king, Prachina Barhishat. And Shiva is giving them one secret which has been revealed in Bhagavatam, one confidential stotra prayer. And then in that he says, Akunta Medase. So Yamunacharya already mentioned that Trividha Sima, Ullangita Trividha Sima, the Supreme Lord, he is not bound by any of these three. And then here Shiva is saying, Krishnaya Akunta Medase. His intelligence is supreme intelligence. Krishna's intelligence, Krishna's brain is not limited by the time, space and thought. That's why he is known as Akunta Medase, unlimited. In Bhagavad Gita, if you see, Krishna says, Vedaham Samatitani. He explains that verse where he says, he remembers the past, present and future of all living entities. He knows everything. He is conscious of everything and then he is conscious of this. But whereas we have a limited brain, our brain can record some prominent incidents in a day. After 1 week, if you can remember one of those, that is a big deal. That is our brain capacity. Now you try to visualize, Akunta Medase. Here is a personality whose brain is not impacted by the time and place, the space. A personality who can remember everything, past, present, future, of not only himself, of every living entity. Just think about it. You cannot even conceive that person. That's why better don't estimate Krishna. Surrender to Krishna. Go on calculating what how big he is, how big Krishna is, how powerful Krishna is, how much is his brain power. You cannot even conceive. He is saying past, present, future, everything. Vedaham, aham, Veda, I know. This is God's position. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is not limited by any of those. And even though this material world gets dissolved, he is not affected by any of those things. Why? Because he is not dependent on this energy. This energy may behave in a certain way for the living entities, but for the Lord, he is not dependent on this energy. He has his own arrangements. And that energy is called Swa Atmaratau Nirihaha. Atmarat. He is always enjoying in his internal potency. So that Supreme Lord, we have a relation with him. That means Krishna or Garbhodakaśāyī Viṣṇu, it's not that they are enjoying and we are all suffering, and then there is no mercy, there is no interaction. No. Krishna is inviting us. Garbhodakaśāyī Viṣṇu, Krishna, they are inviting us. Yes, we have a relationship. Krishna is considered is the personal friend of each one of us. Krishna is the Supreme Master and is the personal friend of each. We have a friend. And that friend has inconceivable potencies. Jiva Goswami explains in his one of the Sandarbhas that unless we understand that there are inconceivable potencies, you can never understand the Supreme Personality of God. Inconceivable means you cannot estimate, you cannot understand these potencies. You cannot measure, because we have a seema, we have a time, space, thoughts. Our brain cannot accommodate such gorgeous, big concepts. We can limit, we can store limitedly, we can only understand. But Krishna has unlimited potencies, inconceivable potencies. Now what is the relevance to us? Sometimes apparently our situation looks so difficult to transcend. Our situation looks completely out of control. It looks very, very difficult to cross over. A thought comes, what will happen to me? Because logical brain, whatever our experience is there, if you calculate, it looks like my issue, my problem, my challenge is impossible to resolve. It appears hopeless. But we have a personality who is not disturbed by even dissolution. That means he is very peaceful personality. And we have a relationship with that personality. And he is our friend, he is watching, he is continuously watching us, and he is waiting. Waiting for what? For us to approach him, for us to depend on him. So sometimes Krishna, what he does? He breaks all our dependencies on anything material. We have many crutches, okay, using this I can cross over this problem, using that. And then we don't depend on Krishna, but we depend on many material arrangements and calculations. All those will be depending. So sometimes Krishna, he breaks all those. When he breaks all those, then devotee will say, Sarva dharman parityajya, mamekam sharanam vraja. He surrenders to only Krishna you can help. How is it? I am seeing that it is not possible to help me. Sometimes, some devotees, some people, it's not possible to help me because my mess is so big. It is completely impossible to solve. No, Krishna has inconceivable potencies. You cannot even understand how he can save you. So instead of depending on your own calculations, your own mind and your own thought by which you are actually limited, why don't you depend on Krishna who has inconceivable and unlimited potencies? Why can't we depend on Krishna? Depending on Krishna means depending on his personality. On his personality. Krishna will save me. This is the dependence on Krishna. Not that, something else, some other material arrangement may be there, and then, I will depend on it. I will continuously search for it. No. While we may have to do our duties of finding some solution, our primary dependence should be on Krishna. Here, in famous Gopinath prayers, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he is praying to Krishna. He says, Gopinath, तुमे तो पंडित भारा मूडेर मंगला तुमी अन्वेषेबे ए दासे ना भावो परा. O Gopinath, you are indeed the wisest person. Please look for a way to bring about auspiciousness for this fool. Please do not consider this servant an outsider. So he is appealing to Krishna, don't consider me an outsider, I am your servant. But I am a Moodha, I am a Moodha. So you are the wisest person, you are the supreme personality, you are the supremely wisest person. So please find a way out for this Moodha. Only you can bring auspiciousness into my life. Only you can give me a way out of the foolish things that I have done. I have created something for me which is actually foolish, but you only can take me out. I will not be able to handle this. Because if I created, how I can come out of it? The thinking by which you created something, same thinking you cannot come out of it. This is what Einstein says. We need the supreme wise person to decide a way out of the mess that we ourselves created. So that's why here he is appealing to Gopinath. Although that personality is the supreme personality, he is enjoying in his own internal potency, still he is a personal friend. So we should not have hopelessness in our life. Things may look very difficult, or things may look very, very not solvable, but we should depend on the supreme wise person. I'll conclude with one example. Other day I have a wash basin, a sink is there behind my office. So I just went there to wash my hands, and then I put the tap and then I wash my hands. So in the corner of that sink, there is one small fly. A small fly is there. From the fly's perspective, there is a devastation water all around. The whole thing is in turmoil. And the fly is, the water went on it, and then the wings got soaked. It is struggling, wriggling. It is not able to move also. The wings have become soaked, so it cannot fly out. And then I saw the fly, and then I felt okay. And then I just went back. After going back, then there is a thinking, now what should I do? Because I am seeing that is struggling. So I went back again to see. It is almost still. I thought maybe it is died. So I was just chanting Hare Krishna, and then I was just saying there is some life is there. Still it is. Still. Then what I did, immediately I came back, and then I took little paper, little white paper I took, and then I went and gave little paper like this I put. Immediately the fly crawled onto the paper, and then I got the paper from the bottom of the sink to the top of the sink, and I left it there in the corner. Again, after next time when I came there, I saw the fly is not there. I think it has found its way. Now, for the fly, it is impossible to conceive my energy. I have a capacity to bring one paper. For the fly, its experience, its thought process, time, space by which it is bound, it is impossible for it to understand that I can actually rescue, I can give protection, I can rescue that so easily. So similarly, we may think, because our thoughts are like that, we may think that it is all impossible. Krishna can bring one little paper. We are like flies, and then he can take us out of all this. This is our hope. Krishna consciousness is full of hope because he is a friendly God. He is not somebody who is a dictator sitting on a singhasana. Put everybody into hell. If you don't surrender, just put them into hell. No. He is a very friendly master. He is a master, friendly master. Very, very affectionate to his servants. All that is required is we have to just appeal to him, surrender to him. Krishna, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, Gopinath, please find a way for my auspiciousness. This is the prayer. Please find some way. I don't know what is what, but you are most wisest. So please find a way for my auspiciousness. That's all. You will see miraculously Krishna's achintya shaktis, his inconceivable potencies will come into action, and in ways which we cannot understand, we will be rescued, we will be protected. This should be the faith and goal of the devotees. Any questions? Śrīla Prabhupāda ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
హరే కృష్ణ గోల్డెన్ టెంపుల్ వారి మరో అపురూప కానుక హరే కృష్ణ వాణి ఆధ్యాత్మిక మాసపత్రిక. ఇప్పుడు మొబైల్ యాప్ ద్వారా కూడా సులభంగా పత్రికలు చదువుకునే సౌకర్యం, వార్షిక సభ్యత్వం, భగవద్గీత, భాగవత ప్రవచనాలు, స్ఫూర్తి సందేశాలు, ఇంకా మరెన్నో సదుపాయాలతో హరే కృష్ణ వాణి మొబైల్ యాప్ నేడే డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. మరిన్ని వివరాల కోసం కాల్ చేయండి 9133107700. హరే కృష్ణ గోల్డెన్ టెంపుల్ వారి మరో అపురూప కానుక హరే కృష్ణ వాణి ఆధ్యాత్మిక మాసపత్రిక. ఇప్పుడు మొబైల్ యాప్ ద్వారా కూడా సులభంగా పత్రికలు చదువుకునే సౌకర్యం, వార్షిక సభ్యత్వం, భగవద్గీత, భాగవత ప్రవచనాలు, స్ఫూర్తి సందేశాలు, ఇంకా మరెన్నో సదుపాయాలతో హరే కృష్ణ వాణి మొబైల్ యాప్ నేడే డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. మరిన్ని వివరాల కోసం కాల్ చేయండి 9133107700. హరే కృష్ణ గోల్డెన్ టెంపుల్ వారి మరో అపురూప కానుక హరే కృష్ణ వాణి ఆధ్యాత్మిక మాసపత్రిక. ఇప్పుడు మొబైల్ యాప్ ద్వారా కూడా సులభంగా పత్రికలు చదువుకునే సౌకర్యం, వార్షిక సభ్యత్వం, భగవద్గీత, భాగవత ప్రవచనాలు, స్ఫూర్తి సందేశాలు, ఇంకా మరెన్నో సదుపాయాలతో హరే కృష్ణ వాణి మొబైల్ యాప్ నేడే డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి.